Camera guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Good, start this meeting. Pledge the flag. I'm gonna try.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do a roll call.
Dan Pillow,
Here.
Ron Pugh,
Here.
Jennifer Anderson. Here. Ann Pillow,
Here.
Al Glick.
Here.
Pam Jackson.
Here. Whenever you're ready, Margaret, start with the clerk's report.
You received the minutes of October 3rd.
Make a motion to accept the minutes for October 3rd as presented by the clerk.
I second it.
Motion by Ronnie Pugh, second by Jennifer Anderson. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Yay.
Jennifer Anderson. Yeah. Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson. You received pay ordinance 10C for bi-weekly payroll. It was paid on October the 7th. General fund, $7,162.59. From the street construction maintenance and repair fund, $2,629.30. From the water fund, $2,825.86, for a combined total of $12,617.75.
Make a motion to accept 10C 2022.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ronnie Pugh, second by Pam Jackson. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Yay.
Jennifer Anderson. Yeah. Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
You have 10D for monthly salaries from the general fund, $6,750. Street construction maintenance repair, $380.12. From the water fund, $112.18. For a combined total of $8,348.12.
Make a motion to accept 10D 2022 for monthly salaries.
Second.
Motion by Ronnie Pugh, second by Jennifer Anderson. Any discussions? No discussions, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Yay.
Jennifer Anderson. Yeah. Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
You have 10E for accounts payable, dispersed from the general fund, $4,337.43. From the street construction maintenance and repair fund, $683.48. Water fund, $470.56, for a combined total $5,491.47.
I'll make a motion to approve 10E 2022.
Second.
Motion by Pam, second by Ronnie Pugh. Any discussion?
I do have something. What is line 4? We pay for
It's
drug
for
tests?
Mayor's Court. We
Yeah.
do pay for that. It comes out
When
of
it's
Mayor's
ordered.
Court's funding.
Oh, I didn't know.
It's for Mayor's Court. When they go before the magistrate, they have those type of tests done, drug
Okay.
tests done.
Thank you for clarifying.
We pay $600 a month for 2 copiers,
We split it
but I know it's
with the water
$368.
board. It's a lease that we have, and the lease goes through the 20, I think it's 23 or 25, because we just renewed it not that long ago.
Is that them destroying the copies and stuff too? Or is that just the copy?
It's just the copy.
These are copiers that
Maintenance.
we, from
Okay,
Xerox,
maintenance.
that we went through ComDoc.
I was just wondering.
I think in the past, we've looked at options on buying them and it's not any cheaper.
It's so
Because-
cumbersome.
As soon as you
Buy
As soon as you buy it, you're gonna need to repair it, and it's gonna cost you an arm and leg to repair it.
And that's really not expensive, and it all, like on the maintenance, sometimes it depends on how many copies are ran through it, if they're black, white, color.
And that's why it's better to do a lease,
Yeah.
because sometimes if you buy it, you're buying something that's got 500,000 copies on it, and you don't know how long it's gonna last. But I know we have looked at that in the past, and it's not.
Yes, we have. You said that?
Yep.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Yay.
Jennifer Anderson,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Then you received a copy of the Addyston Board of Public Affairs. This is their information docket, or their packet from their meeting last Monday, the minutes from September 12th, their pay ordinance from September, and their monthly collection for August that was collected in September.
Margret, did you say you had minutes from the 12th?
September the 12th. it should
September
be.
the 12th, okay.
Yeah, from the water board. They're always a month behind.
Okay, great, thanks.
I'll make a motion to accept the reports to council from the water board.
I'll second it. Motion by Pam Jackson, second by Anfilo. Is there any discussion?
There was, when I read this, there was a couple things that was brung up in the meeting that Ron said that he was going to bring up to us. Was that something that we was going to discuss?
We've already discussed it. It was concerning Arnold Young's water issue.
And then what about Dustin telling Tony what about his hours or whatever it was? I remember scanning over that. It was something about that as well. Him not being his supervisor or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, I was present for that, but that's something that the water board addressed. That's not, I let them handle that.
Oh, okay, because you said here that she was gonna take it to council. and-
Ready for the vote?
Yeah.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Abstain.
Jennifer Anderson,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I wanted to mention was, some of you may not know her, but one of our Miami Township trustees, Jack Raniker, lost his wife on the 10th. June was pretty well known to most people that is my age or older. But her services visitation is Friday, this coming Friday, October the 21st. I don't know how many of you know Jack, but they was a very nice couple. So I just wanted to acknowledge that.
And offer condolences to the family.
Yeah, and offer our
How you
condolences.
doing?
Margaret, did we send flowers to Jack on that, or?
Normally, it has to be somebody, in our own community, like a former council member or elected official, something like
He
that.
is still a sitting trustee,
Yeah,
correct?
so, but
I'd like to
make a motion.
make a motion to send flowers to the family of Jack for Friday services, since he is a sitting trustee.
No second.
Motion by Ronnie Pugh, second by Al Glick. Any discussion?
Mayor, I would like to make that in the form of something that we do constantly, so we don't have to think about it. In other words, for all the village officials of our neighboring communities, if we know someone in their family has them or their wives or something that's passed away, we should send flowers.
I'll amend my
Amend that.
motion
Yeah,
to state that.
Thanks.
I second.
ready for the vote?
Uh-huh.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Yay.
Jennifer Anderson,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson. That's all I have now.
All right, thank you. I didn't really have too much on my plate. I just wanted to ask, though, I did have Bob Seibert, or not, oh my goodness. Bill Seibert, they're so close in name, contacted me about the property. He ends up at 72nd Street, and he would like for the Streets Committee to check out the sidewalk that's in front of that house. I told him that if we do sidewalks or any type of those repairs, it needs to be approved by council first, and he thinks that those sidewalks are causing too much water to flow into his property. So if the Streets Committee can maybe get together and go look at it, check it out, and see if it's something he wants to do. Oh. You're gonna bring, okay. Yeah, that's right, the 26th of this month.
Yeah.
Okay. They're bringing, the unit that's on top of this roof, they're gonna be replacing it on the 26th of this month, so if you see a crane outside setting something on the building,
I totally forgot about
that
that.
way you know what it is. That's all I had, because you don't have anything else to
No,
share, did you?
no.
Okay. That's all I have for now, council. Bob?
I have an ordinance that grants essentially the state highway the ability to go in and mark. Should be US 50 instead of 52. Down in the fourth whereas. And I'll correct that and send the correct page over to Margret this evening, but it gives them the ability to make the markings on the roadway, remove snow and ice, and for maintenance and repair.
Make a motion to suspend the rules. Have the solicitor read the ordinance 3 times by title only, declare an emergency.
Second it.
Motion by Ronnie, Pugh, second by Jennifer Anderson. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Yay.
Jennifer Anderson. Yay. Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
First reading, an ordinance granting approval and granting consent to the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation Authority to apply, maintain, and repair standard longitudinal pavement markings and erect regulatory and warning signs on state highways inside village corporate limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to remove snow and ice and use snow and ice control material on state highways inside the village corporate limits, and give consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to perform maintenance and/or repair on state highways inside the village corporation. Second reading, an ordinance granting approval and granting consent to the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation Authority to apply, maintain, and repair standard longitudinal pavement markings and erect regulatory and warning signs on the village highway, on state highways inside village corporate limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to remove snow and ice and use snow and ice control material on state highways inside the village corporate limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to perform maintenance and/or repair on state highways inside the village corporation. Third reading, an ordinance granting approval and granting consent to the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation Authority to apply, maintain, and repair standard longitudinal pavement markings and erect regulatory and warning signs on the state highways inside village corporate limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to remove snow and ice and use snow and ice control material on state highways inside the village corporate limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to perform maintenance and/or repair on state highways inside the village corporation.
Make a motion to adopt as prepared and read with the correction to paragraph 4 as already stated.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ronnie Pugh, second by Pam Jackson. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Yay.
Jennifer Anderson. Yay. Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson. Unfortunately, I can't give you a number because my book's upstairs. I'll have to email everybody.
Did you by chance get a chance to look at the one she sent about the drug?
I started looking at it, but I didn't get able to go back and find out. But I know there's got to be one that was prepared.
Yeah.
I said you must have passed it.
State legislature.
It happened back to the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Because I went back through, like, even back through the line, I remember it was there going through every single ordinance.
Hear people ask them
Yeah.
questions.
The only one I found was the enforcement and education, so that's what.
Or all the state legislators that
That
were
may
like
have
our
changed
local
because there
representatives, just
just
depends
depends
on whether they feel
confiscation
like
fund
voting
or
or
something.
Like who shows up,
It may have had a
usually,
different
yeah.
name.
Our legislature.
We
Oh,
I
wanted
don't
to
know about the
transfer
lady from
money.
Harrison. She's,
Well,
I don't know about her, but Bill Sykes. if
The
it's
money
on the
was the,
microphone,
when they
Bill's
used to
gonna be
send
there.
people to DUI out
You know
at,
that,
Right.
yeah.
That's
I
where
had
that
to go
money
in and
was.
get myself.
It's got to be there.
Just trying to figure out where my
okay, well, if you
schedule
give me a,
is. Trying to put it all
because I'll
together.
go through the two, you say around the 2000s.
Yeah, okay.
Early.
Well, I can go through those again and see if I come across something. All right, then that's all we have right there, because the auditors are asking for it, and we haven't been able to find it.
That's why I said if we didn't, we need.
But yeah, if you can't find it, then put one together so we can get one established. All right. All right, we'll go ahead and go to committees. Dan Philo?
Thank you, Mayor. Just have a couple of items. I laid in front of you, and I, for one, will try to do better at getting this out earlier in the week, so you have an opportunity to study it, read it, know what I'm talking about. This is just from our Housing Development Committee meeting on October the 6th. I'll capsulize it for you as best I can. What we're trying to do as a committee is put together a document that helps us prepare for our future, basically a one-stop shop for all things housing and community development. We talk about housing, I mean, we witnessed it here at our table. Often, you know, people come in, they want to know, is this available, is that available, how we go about, or how they go about trying to obtain it if it happens to be village property. And there's a myriad of things. We're so happy to work with Edward. We kind of give him a heads up about what we're trying to accomplish. This is not going to be an easy job, but we, as a committee, are committed to putting something together that we know in advance. You know, we got Mrs. Bauer's house was gifted to us. We need to put what we do there in writing and in a form, just completely, how we go about it. Bob can tell us the legal ramifications, so if you get an opportunity to kind of read through what we worked on. And to that end, I don't know that we have ever, we need to have a cost on the commercial property. We've had different people ask, well, what do you guys want for that? I don't know, have we done that? Have we established the cost on it?
Established the cost, and the reason council, from what I remember, even before when I was on council, we never really established a cost because we were looking at, well, who wants to be there and for what purpose? Like, what kind of business is looking at it? Is council willing to give them a break to have these businesses or whatever like that?
Yeah, that's all well and good, but I think we should have an idea of what the property costs, basic costs. We can make exceptions, but if I need to tell somebody who may have a couple of dollars, say, I'd really like to have that piece of property, I'd like to be able to tell them something. They're not going to buy a pig in a poke, that's for sure. So if we have to do it different ways for different buyers.
That's just what was discussed
Yeah.
in the past. I mean, I don't really care if you put a price on it, don't, or either way. I mean, probably the best way to go about that too is maybe having an appraiser give you, you know, what's the current market value, and then go from there.
That's pretty much what I was asking.
Well, I don't think you got it for sale, I don't even know what.
Yeah, if that-
Want for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's for sale, what do you want for it? Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we need it.
we should have at least a ballpark that we can work from, and if there are concerns about whether we want to do something different for a business, or what kind of business, or an individual who wants to build a house there, just so we have something to work from. We have a general idea.
I'll put that in the form of a motion, have an appraiser look at the commercial property, give us a realistic idea of the value.
Hold on, let me find my sheets, guys. I got so much. Okay,
We got a
Ron.
motion by Ronnie and a second by Al
Yeah. Oh, somebody already seconded
for
it.
the appraiser. Yeah.
For the commercial property over
At the school.
at the old, at the old school.
Mhm.
Okay, I've got it down.
All right, is there any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
I just have a question. Are you going to coordinate that?
I can, if council
The committee?
wants, yes. I
Yay,
can certainly
yay.
do that. Okay, yes.
Jennifer Anderson,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Yeah.
And I don't know what cost is involved, but there is a cost for that. Too bad Ed's not here, he might be able to tell you what the cost is.
For
But,
an appraisal,
yes.
probably $400-500.
That's usually about average.
Oh, that's great. Then I would ask for a motion I will make a motion that we establish a purchase order for that amount, $500.
Oh, second.
Motion by Dan Pillow, second by Ronnie Pugh for the expenditures. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Yay.
Jennifer Anderson,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
and Jackson.
Yeah.
Mayor, I also, Councilwoman Pam Jackson attended also. As most of you know, there's been a huge outcry in the community over water costs, water bills. I don't know how many of you have heard it, but I've heard a lot of it. So I decided to drop in, and Pam did as well, to see what the problem is, why everybody's bill is jacked up and varying, and those kinds of things. And just as a sort of a unofficial report from being on the, what is the name of our committee? You're the chairman, I'll ask you.
Water and sewer. Water and sewer?
No, no.
Public Works.
Public, yeah.
Public Works, it kind of changed on me, that's the reason I had a hard time.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't have known it either, so, Public Works. So we sat in, and there were quite a few people in the audience who had information, who wanted to know, because in some cases, their water bills had tripled, and somebody said even 4 times. So there was a lot of back and forth about why the board established the fact that the meters hadn't been read for the last 2 years, and that's why everybody had been getting the 2,000 gallon bill for so long. And now the meters are actually being read, and that's why everybody's bill has gone up exponentially. And it's discussion about whether they were read or not read.
Right, we did ask that question because we did see our previous water board person
Yeah,
go around the village and check meters. So we questioned that, and they didn't have an answer for us, which I was surprised by that.
right.
Because there's some members have been there a while, at least one of them, but we
Yeah.
didn't get any answer of what he was doing and where that reading was going.
Sorry.
So we asked that question.
That's a good question.
Mhm.
Actually, when I was water board clerk, I do know that the meters were read because there is the handheld gun that they read the meters with every time it's loaded with all the accounts before they go out, and it's dropped in by the end, by online for the accounts. So they used to be, I don't know what happened after that, but I can say that there was a tool in place for that. And I myself spoke to the water board clerk when this was coming about. I advised her that the board needed to send letters out at
You guys calling
least
each other?
twice to all the residents, telling them about what was going to happen. Because we've done that in the past. With rates, we've been required to do that.
Because everybody's seen him out in the community, but
So,
that's the only information we
I
got.
mean, I've seen him with some kind of,
oh yeah, I mean, everybody said, well, we've seen Brian, who was
well, I
the,
was talking about Tony. but-
No,
guy
we're talking
who's-
previous to that.
yeah,
Even.
yeah, 2 years.
Really?
That they had seen him, whether he was perpetrating, I don't know. He was out, but I'd see him out there reading the meters. At least he was appearing to read the meters. So as a conclusion, there was something about the rates, how the rates were, council sets the rates. So I told them that the water committee, Public Utilities Committee would sit down and talk with them. And if Margret would pull up our agreement on water rates and things like that, we do have an ordinance.
There is an ordinance that the board passes because they're responsible for the rates, the water
Okay.
rates.
Okay.
Council's always concurred on it. Since the Greater Cincinnati Water Works sets the sewer rates, they have no control over that.
Right.
But it hasn't been, the rates haven't been increased since 2017. That's the last ordinance that was
2017?
17, yeah.
So, yeah, so we'll at least need that, and we're going to try to meet with them. I don't know if Jennifer can meet, but Jennifer, Pam, and I are on that particular.
Hey, Dan, can I
Yes.
also add that
Committee chair on that.
I know.
when this was happening with Mr. Young and his property,
Mhm.
I had an ordinance in my office. I have a folder, and they used to be in the water office, but the former water clerk, I don't know what happened to ordinances and stuff when she was in there. But I did make a copy of that, and I gave it to the current water board clerk
Okay.
because it establishes all the procedures about how a resident, who's responsible for when it
Yeah,
hits that line at the meter. There's a whole outline of it. Lisa said that's the first time she ever saw it. Well, I knew it was down there, but I don't know what happened to it. But I did have it, and I did, anything that I had like that, I have made available
sure.
to them.
One of the problems, they seem to think that we have an ordinance.
Yeah.
But
No, it's
that we
their
don't have,
ordinance.
well,
Am I
they
right,
may.
Bob, that they're responsible for
Yeah.
setting the rates and that, and council just concurs on it, I believe.
Okay, so we'll kind of talk with them. We have referred them to the water office, people I met on the streets. But they have difficulty for some reason, is what they tell me, getting an answer. Now, we all got a letter, if you remember, about a year ago, excuse me, was it been that long, or 6 months ago, from the board indicating that the meters hadn't been read for 2 years.
I don't know how long it was, but I remember.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
while.
so they have put some information out. So what, they wanted to meet with us as a committee to kind of go over how we can help solve the problem, kind of get the people settled down. I got charged double myself, so I'm very interested in knowing that. And if anybody has any other information they'd like us to obtain or pass on, I'd be happy to do that to me.
Yeah, I know a lot of residents were upset about trying to contact somebody when the water situation was going on. That was the biggest concern.
Yeah.
And not being able to get any answers.
Yeah, well, they said that they would get the president of the board's number out there. It's like nobody had his number. Yeah.
It is available on our website, and a phone was purchased for the water board president to have as the contact, and it is on there. The other board members chose not to have a water established phone. They felt he's the president, it should go to him. But on people calling, wanting to get through, you all got my emails, right, about the phone system. We did get it resolved. There was a problem unbeknownst to us. Cincinnati Bell was out twice. They actually showed the mayor and I what was going on. And the one guy that was out, Dave said it was fine, and then we had the same problem. The next day, they sent out another guy and
He finally got one that did.
yeah, he did. He walked all the way through it, traced the line through everybody's office, and he did get it resolved.
So cool.
So,
Many technicians later.
thinking in terms of next Wednesday, it'll have to be in the evening because I think the president works during the day.
So we're looking at the 19th.
This
And
week
what's
or next
this
week?
for?
Next week or this week?
Next week,
The 26th.
yes.
26 Mayor's Court, so
Next,
you have,
oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can meet upstairs if you want.
yeah, you can meet
Well, I can't go
upstairs.
upstairs.
Oh,
Oh.
never mind.
Okay.
Never mind, I said that.
Can you do it this Tuesday? I'll see if we can get them together.
This
This
Wednesday?
Wednesday,
We
I'm
can do, I
sorry.
mean, if we can get together Wednesday, I can do it Wednesday,
Okay.
the 19th.
6. I'll run this back by them and contact you guys.
Wednesday is the court night, right?
The 19th?
I've got
What's
the
the court date?
26.
I thought the 26th was court.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, okay, yeah. 19th is
Yeah.
good then.
Okay.
And what committee is this?
Water work.
Public Works.
Public Works.
I thought it was,
Sorry about that, we changed names the first of the year. Got to get with it.
so it would be
Public
stormwater, right?
No,
No, Public
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 Works.
Works.
Okay, wrong one.
yeah.
You're the chairperson.
Towards the top. So can we look at maybe 7 instead of 6?
Sure.
19th at 7?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you, Danny. Ronnie?
Mayor, I just have two things. I know we discussed Halloween at the last meeting. I just would like to make a motion that we establish our time there, observe Halloween on October 31st from 6 to 8.
All right.
I second it.
That in the form of a motion, Ronnie.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Motion by Ronnie, second by Jennifer, to establish October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. for trick or treating.
Ready?
And, yep, call for the vote.
Dan
Question,
Polo?
I missed the question, I'm sorry. Have we established a price? To go in?
Ratings?
We did that
That's-
last time.
For the haunted house.
For the haunted house, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, we're on something else, okay,
We're
great.
talking about
Great.
the day of
The actual
The way we
door to
observe
door.
it. Great,
Yeah, the
great.
observation.
So Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Yay.
Jennifer Anderson,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
And as far as the Halloween for the establishment of price, I mean, if it, yeah, I forgot to bring that up last time, but like our digi sign, the only thing I changed was a date. So last year was $3. If you want to keep it the same, we can keep it the same.
And then.
That's what I put up anyway already, because it was the same as last year.
I'm fine with that personally, I don't know how fast it is.
And are we doing it the 28th and 29th or the 29th and the 30th?
28th and 29th. Yeah, and I went ahead and put that up on a digiboard. But I figured, well, the digiboard keeps the logs, so all I changed was a date.
What was the time frame?
Well, I just put doors open at 7 out there, but we usually run about 7 to 10, 10-ish. It depends on what the crowd looks like towards the end.
Okay.
We kind of just leave that open for if it gets really dead, nobody else is coming, we kind of call it quits for the night. So I just put open at 7.
Would you like that in the form of a motion, or is that just general consensus?
That's just general consensus, really. If you guys are good with the doors open at 7.
I'll make a motion to that effect. It's fine.
All right. Motion by Ronnie.
I'll second.
Second by Pamela. Call for the vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Yeah.
Jennifer Anderson,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
The only other thing that I have, we won't meet before the VFW has their salute to the vets. I've brought that up a couple of different times, but that'll be on Sunday, November the 6th at Jim and Jack's from 1 to 4. Just a reminder to everybody, That's all I have, Mayor.
Thanks, Ronnie. Jennifer?
I have nothing at this time.
Thanks, Jennifer. Miss Ann?
I have a few things. The first that I have is for the music in the park. We thank everybody who helped with that. And somewhere I have a note that says, there we go. We were able to repay the startup fee of $300, and we cleared a profit of $201, and that's already been given to the clerk for deposit in the parks and playground. The parks committees also worked this past Thursday and Friday, digging holes and getting ready for the installation of the exercise equipment, and we'll be meeting again on Tuesday, that's tomorrow, from 12 to 4.
It's gonna be cold.
Cold forever. That's okay.
I was bringing hot chocolate and Baileys.
So that's all I have for parks and playgrounds. And then as far as the police committee, since it all centers around the finance, I'll wait until Pam gives the finance report. Then we'll go from there.
Mayor, before we depart from that, we certainly appreciate that maintenance guys kind of helping us get the materials that we need, the wood and stuff like that, sonotubes and stuff like that. They were able to help us out, and I always appreciate that when we get that kind of help. And Al, are you going to elaborate on the park, the music in the park?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, just want to tell us a little bit how that went. Oh, sorry.
He wasn't there, but
Yeah, I wasn't there, but hey,
I'm sorry, Al. I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus. But anyway, Pam might want to add some more on that. Good.
that's okay.
I'm sorry.
Did you have anything else, Miss Ann? We'll just move on to Al.
I'll have the police committee report,
Okay,
but I'll
when we
wait
get
till
to
Pam
Pam.
does hers.
All right, Al.
I'll fill us in.
Oh,
Well,
Well, I wasn't there because I had to do my little Fort Myers trip down there.
Yeah, tell us how the weather was down there.
It was beautiful. Yeah, real beautiful.
It's warm, huh?
No, it was warm, but I wasn't there at Music in the Park, but I helped put a lot of it together.
Absolutely.
And I think we gotta do a better job next year by doing it a little sooner because it got a little cold. But a lot of people liked it.
I thought the bands were good.
Yeah, the bands did a really good job. I got good feedback from that. Other than that, Shamrock's got their Halloween costume party this Saturday. So it's giving out prizes, so anyone of age, no children, can come and do that.
I won that one year.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
And I'm hoping, if my trailer's back in time, I could do something for the haunted house, like put some hay bales around in my trailer, take them down around the park, whatever.
Oh, that would be
I
neat.
mean, if quote unquote, if my trailer is back, because
Yeah.
Mr. Thomas has my trailer down in Fort Myers still. And he's supposed to be back sometime this week, but as long as it's back, I'll throw some hay bales in there and just take the kids down around the park and bring them back, and while they're waiting in line,
Hay ride.
Yeah.
make them a little hay
That's
ride, so.
Maybe have a few people dressed up down around the
Sure.
school area for a little
Right,
extra.
it's a good spot for you.
Fountains.
Pop out.
We can't count on him. He done promised to do the Easter bunny and didn't show up, so.
Hey, we had a great Easter bunny.
I know, we had someone that was able to step in,
Count
like,
on him.
He was good.
Yeah, we had a tall Easter bunny.
and my grandson appreciated it.
But anyway, that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thanks, Al. Pam?
Okay, she's gonna wait on.
Yeah,
me.
she's waiting for you.
Okay, all right, and on with talking about the music thing. Yeah, the bands were great. I mean, I think the people that were there and stuck with us was quite cold. We did have, they had a raffle where Al's donated the bikes and
the same little young man won both of them. Someone supposedly stole his bike or lost it, I don't know what happened with it, but he was happy to win not once, but twice, which was pretty nice. It
One
went to
kid got
somebody that
hooked
really
up, right?
needed it for a change.
Yeah, he come
And,
by and I was like, man, good looking bike you got there. He's like, yeah, I won both of them.
it was neat, yeah, it was really neat. And the people over there seemed to enjoy it. It got too cold, they went to their cars,
Yeah.
and then they warmed up, came back out, and the band, you know, they just said that they could help us, you know, just start earlier and probably do it earlier in the year, and he said he had a lot of ideas if he wanted to meet with the special events to help us out on things anywhere that they could. And want to thank, I forgot to write his name down, who donated the use of the trailer.
Oh, Brad Hamilton.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, he brought that in for our staging area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And may we also give Austin a few props. The kid, he can get on your last nerve, but boy, will he work.
He's a handful, isn't he? He's a great little kid though, but he's a handful.
We bribed him a little bit. We paid him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, it was a nice event. Just probably do it like we talked about earlier in the year. Maybe if we could start doing something, you know, if we could put it into the budget, if that allows it, doing something through the summer, maybe once a month. And just to try to get people out and get involved. As we see, we can't really depend a lot on the citizens of Addyston. There's a lot of people that I didn't know that was there, so it's outside people coming to participate. We just wish that our village residents would get more involved. It was a free event,
It was.
and I know it was cold.
I can't walk.
One other suggestion is that when the committee gets together to do that type of thing again, we go to the expense of buying signs that we can use every year. Sealer Park had their event over there. I understand it was a huge success.
Right.
They had signs all the way down into Addyston, you know, just those stick in the ground signs that we could
Yeah.
put all over Miami Township.
But it was a little earlier in the
But that
day,
had
so
been
they got the
established for a
heat,
while,
and we got
too.
as soon as that sun went down, it was like, ooh,
Oh,
and they were done, and we
Yeah.
were starting.
that's why you
Yeah.
didn't, well, I sat in my car.
And of course, it was one of our first coldest nights,
Yeah.
But we gotta do better about
Yeah.
getting it earlier in the year.
earlier
It's just,
and more
we didn't have a
advertising.
whole lot of time, so.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I thought it turned out really nice though.
Well, a lot of people like the fall side of it.
Right,
I mean, it happened to be cold, but I mean, still people like that idea of coming out for the fall.
yeah. And
So
two,
maybe not doing it so much earlier, it's just, I
right,
mean, you can't pick what is gonna be cold and what's not, but.
yeah. And also, thanks to maintenance for just setting what we needed up ahead of time. I think that's all on the music thing. The other thing, we did have a finance meeting, it was discussed, our current appropriations, and was referred to us also to discuss the third full-time officer, try to help alleviate what's going on there with our shortages in that department, to see if we can't hire another person to help the schedule, fill in these gaps. I mean, looking at the budget, I mean, we sit down and looked at some of the numbers. We could, you know, we would recommend hiring someone in that third position as soon as we can, to try to, I don't know what else. I mean, if we don't have the people to fill now, unless there's somebody out there who's looking for full-time and not part-time, it's worth a shot to try. Hopefully this will help us. And we talked about recommending raising the police salary. I know that we are low. I look around, I can see what's going on around us. Our pay is low hourly, and we talked about raising them to the
$19
$20.51.
per hour.
And then our part-time officers, we need some incentive for them too. It looks like our weekend is always open. We even talked with the chief about, we've got to do something about changing the shifts, making it not Monday through Friday, Tuesday through Friday, or rotate weekends. Whatever it takes, it's up to him to try to work this out. If we add this other person, I mean, that's kind of what we expect him to do. And then if we can raise the salary of the part-time a couple dollars, and they're all close together to fill these gaps that we have. I know we're being threatened by the county, and they're coming here covering. We just have to try something. And then we also discussed you know, because a lot of, what we're understanding, a lot of communities have like a police budget area just for them. We pay the police out of our general fund, where I guess we're kind of unique compared to other communities. They have levies that support that and we don't. So we did discuss that. We've talked about this before, but we talked about it again, that right now we're not having to buy new cars or anything like that. So it's being all spent on, you know, just the general operations. When it comes to that, I don't know where we're gonna be able to continue to have 3 full-time people that we're proposing, and then raising their salaries, and then still maintain the department how it needs to be, the training and everything else that goes along with that, and the benefits. But, so we want to talk about seeing what it could generate. We can get Margret to maybe contact the county and see what it would be for, I don't know what kind of millage that we would need to do that, and then that would go on the ballot to the taxpayers. That's about all we can do at this point, because we can't keep taking out of the general fund. I mean, we got other things we need to do too. You know, we got maintenance, you know, our obligations as the village. You know, not a lot of our funds are restricted, so we can't use those. So these are just recommendations from,
That's police officer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I figured you
I was thinking like, God, is the wind blowing that hard?
so I don't know how council feels about, you know, our recommendation is to hire the 3rd full-time police officer. It would be at $20.51 an hour. And then to also raise up our part-time officers. And if we can recruit some more that likes to work weekends or rotate weekends, so we have everybody working weekends, not just our part-time people. We've got to rely on our full-time people too. We're gonna have to change their schedule. We gotta give a little, maybe somebody part-time can work a day during the week. It's just whatever we have to do to fix the problem that we're in, or we're not gonna have as the police department. We can't continue the way we are.
We did talk to the chief to that effect in our police committee meeting as well. And I think he does understand that it's been all give, and we want to see some.
Right, so we met
Give on their
first,
word.
I'm sorry, we met first on the 6th of October. And that was when the chief and the mayor were notifying us that the sheriff office would be billing the village for $10,000 for coverage of the rest of the shifts for the month of October. Which we know that they can't just send us a bill, and they haven't talked to the council or anyone about that, not just the chief, they have to talk to the council. And also the cost per month would be or for a year would be $250,000 for an exclusive car to the village of, for the village of Addyston would be $550,000. And the joint car between North Bend, Miami, and Addyston, Miami Township and Addyston would be $250,000. And the chief had also talked about to fix the department by going full-time. So we have that one for the 6th. And then we came back on the 14th after the Finance Committee had made their recommendations. And as Pam said, to funds for a 3rd full-time officer. And we have the chief and the night person. And so this would be our 3rd person coming in as full-time. And this 3rd person would come in 6 months probation, and the budget would have to be altered, as Pam says, in order to come up with that salary and to give the others raises. And also for police levy, which would have to go to the community to see if they were willing to do that. See, the chief, I asked the chief at that meeting if by getting this full-time person, if all shifts would be covered. He said that he would hope so, but he couldn't guarantee it. And Scott Bartlett was working on a schedule, and we'll get back with that. And at this time, with the 3 full-time people, it would leave 8 shifts open a month to be filled. I'm not sure about that, if those numbers work out exactly. And the chief has a candidate for a full-time position who was a cop coming from New Richmond. And the first interview, as I understand it, is scheduled for Wednesday, the 19th. And then after that, that person would have to have a psych eval, PE, et cetera, whatever else the officer needs. And he could be ready, hopefully, he could be ready to start December 1st.
I thought if they was already an officer, they'd be able to.
We still have to run them through a psych and a polygraph.
Oh.
Did they change that?
It's a liability, well, it's a liability issue
Okay.
if we don't.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, council can make their own, but my recommendation would be for a psych and a poly, because if you don't do that and something were to happen, you're gonna be paying out a lot of money. So,
And sometimes we get lucky if the other agency decides to give us
So is there anybody-
if they've done
That's
it
what I
in
was,
6
that's what I was thinking.
That's
As if it's been
That's where my
done
brain was at, was it had already been.
This particular officer, though, I'm recommending that it be done because looking at just from what the chief said, there's some previous history with the county sheriff's office. I don't know what that history is without going into detail.
Right, I
I would
understand.
like to make
Oh,
sure
yeah,
that we get the psych and the
absolutely.
poly,
Okay,
just to protect ourselves.
I appreciate that.
I didn't attend any of those meetings, didn't have to, so I didn't. But I do have some observations or questions about that. You say his pay comes out of the general fund? The police officer's pay?
Yeah.
Well, everything eventually comes out of the general fund, right?
Yes, Dan,
But we
everything's out of
submit a
there.
budget for them to work out of.
Right.
It's not like they just arbitrarily go into
Right.
it.
Yeah, but what
Well,
she
that's
was
part of
saying
it.
is other departments have a police,
Separate police fund.
So
yes,
we-
that's
No,
only for their pay.
it's like our fire levy, it'd be like a police.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I understand what a levy is, but I just want to clarify that when the chief, I shouldn't say clarify, when the chief sets his budget, his salaries are included in that budget, and that's where we look to work from, you know, doing something differently, yeah, I certainly understand that, I just
Yeah,
want
first
to.
of all, he shouldn't be setting the salaries, we do.
Well,
That's another.
yeah, he sets his budget for
Right.
council to accept or not accept, so.
I mean, they should be involved in the budget so they know where they're at, what they're allowed to spend. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
So,
At the end of the day, even if we put a levy on and it passes, it's still gonna come out of the general fund just from levy money. I understand what you're saying.
oh yeah, it'll be straight, I certainly understand that. That money will be straight for the police department if that's what the levy says.
Can I speak on that? Can I speak on
Sure.
this? On the levy, you need to remember that, you know, I can submit a letter to the county auditor asking them, like, the different millage, like, right now, we have a 2.5% out of the, you know, over, I don't know what it's called, I
Yeah.
can't think of it right now. But anyhow, what that generates, and that is strictly for the fire and the EMS. But with the police, you know, even though, say, the levy does pass, you're still gonna have to subsidize it out of the general fund because it probably will not generate enough. Because right now, their budget is like 323,000 out of the 750-something thousand that we, you know, get in the general fund. So, yeah, there's a lot to be, you know, considered with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the other thing that I am extremely interested in focusing on is that we come up with a document. We got this, that, and the other. We really need to come up with our expectations. Everything needs to be pretty concise in a document. If the committees can come up with a document that not only we'll understand, but that the people, if it goes that far, I should preface all this by saying that I, for one, am just all in on keeping our police department. I know what happens. There was a rumor that the county was going to be here.
Yeah.
But I know what happens in other communities. I know what happens in Silverton when they got rid of their police. So many things that we really need to document and put numbers that flow down to what we can afford, what the county's going to do. Somehow this get that all documented. Make it a cohesive thing so that we're not, you know.
We
going
did
back
talk
and
about
forth.
having some ad hoc committees. Obviously, this is in the infancy, so.
Sure. Oh,
you
okay,
know,
great.
we-
Thank you, that helps me a lot.
We weren't just planning on throwing it on the ballot and seeing if it would
Well,
stick or not,
Well,
but yeah. that
yeah,
was-
even when we got to that point, you're right, it's in its infancy. I can appreciate that. I'll leave it there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I get what you're saying, because really to explain to people so they understand
That way they're,
everything that's going on.
they have
what
all the
council's
information
trying
to vote.
do.
And I would like to bring the community in, obviously, and
Oh.
get their
Yeah,
input in the
exactly.
meetings before we
Exactly right.
even go that far. So we did discuss that in the meeting
Yeah,
at length,
Sure.
obviously. I mean,
yeah. Well,
because it's not, obviously, it's not something that we want to do. We never want to put something like that on the ballot, but in order to keep our department, we think that it's something that we're going to have to do. And so,
well,
you know, I don't want to ask for more money from the community, especially at a time that we really aren't giving them the coverage that they deserve.
Yes.
So that's why, like I said, it's in its infancy, and we're going to have a lot of discussion around that.
Yeah.
to gauge the
yeah.
reaction.
I appreciate that, yeah, because the people will need to know when we get to that part.
Yeah.
But even where you are now, in the third officer or whatever it is, I really need some clarification on how all those numbers are going to work and where the money's going to be taken from. And I heard you mention that we had to take into consideration that that's not our only department. We have a lot of other people that depend on council who need their salaries adjusted as well. So I just wanted to throw that out to the committee so that some things to please take into consideration and come up with something that I can sit down and read for an hour or two.
We did discuss that in the finance meeting. We knew as soon as, I mean, we've given a lot to the police department pretty much exclusively. And we knew in doing that everybody's going to come knocking, which it's understandable. I mean, our employees in general are woefully underpaid, and that's not just the police department, that's all of them.
Sure.
And we did say that we would look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just seeing where all that's going to come from, how it all works out together in a comprehensive package would make me happy. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay. The other thing I had was, we asked the chief about the accident
Sunday.
was just last Sunday? On the 9th of October, because we had, as I understand, there were several sheriff cars out here taking care of the accident, but we didn't have any local cops to patrol as far as the streets were jammed up. And someone did move the barrels and things up by 262 Main Street so that cars could at least get through Main Street. I don't know where they were going after they got through, but
And that was causing almost very close accidents as well.
yeah, I
The
think
state
there was
wasn't taking-
another
it was just
accident.
Head on,
doing that.
like who was gonna go, who was gonna do what, and then they're
There
coming up
was
Second going 60.
It was everywhere.
Yeah, because they were up on Secretary and First Street was closed and it was bad.
My neighbor had to come outside and stand, just trying to make people slow down because they almost hit his dogs. So, I mean, it's definitely, when accidents happen,
There's at least 3 there a month,
yeah.
I know for a fact.
So-
Watch it.
My question
All the
is,
time.
why didn't one of our officers respond?
I asked, I
We didn't have
I
any
asked
shift.
I mean, you
chief.
didn't have on shift, but still.
I asked the chief, I said, were you contacted? Or he said, yes, he was contacted. First, the lieutenant was contacted, then he contacted the chief. So he said, yes, he was aware and that the sheriff handled it. They were the experts to handle these accidents, but that still didn't
Yeah, and we,
answer the
the question.
Main Street.
Yeah, that
We
handled
did-
the
we
accident,
did-
but not the,
We did make the chief aware that it was our feeling as a committee, yeah, he was contacted, but he has a take-home car he is a supervisor. He's not responding after hours to anything. To my knowledge, he hasn't. So it's something that's going to have to be looked at. It's something that's going to have to be addressed. The police committee is looking at it. You know, he has been made aware. And I think his response to that was, correct me if I'm wrong, Ann, he said he wasn't Don, he's not married to the place.
Yes. He said, I'm not married to the village as Don was. I have a life.
Oh, yeah, but he is supervisor. If he couldn't be here, the lieutenant, why do we have the lieutenant? I understand they do
That
have
was
their
the whole point
lives,
of
but
the chain of command, right?
yeah, we've got 2 people that are in management positions and no one could come here for a couple hours. It doesn't make sense to me.
And it wasn't even a couple hours, it was half an hour?
Yeah. I know
45 minutes
people were
tops.
calling
I think
me
even if
trying-
you're contacted, I think your response should be a little bit different.
Right. People were
A little bit
contacting,
more tactful.
trying to get in this building. I said, I don't have the authority to let anybody in this building.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why the county wanted in here or what the reason
Well,
was.
I think, what I had heard was, someone was walking by when it happened, and they rushed over here thinking the officers were in here, and they was trying to get someone in here to go out there and help.
Well, they wanted, at the end of the day, they wanted access to our cameras because they thought that it might have caught it on camera, but the chief did speak with the county and let them know that our cameras are not pointed in that direction and would have not have recorded it. So we did ask him that. It was either at the I don't remember. It was either at the finance committee meeting or the police committee meeting, but he said he did speak to the county traffic unit, and that's the reason that they wanted access to the building. But again, going back to it, I think my point to the conversation was, if you're contacted after hours and you have a take-home car, somebody needs to be responding.
Yeah, that was major. It's not like something minor.
Yeah. And it's not the first one, right?
No.
There's been a few.
That's about
Yeah.
if it's not there, it's the other one.
Right, because I think the other one, it
Yeah,
was at the other
yeah.
one.
I mean, we would see it on a pay ordinance if he's responded after hours for overtime, and that's not happened. I mean, we could go back to micromanaging and start asking for timesheets, want to know when people are punching in and punching out, try to give them the liberty to be grown adults and run their own department. But if we need to do that, it's something that we have to do.
And Chief's not here tonight, they asked me.
Yeah, I agree that when it's that major of an accident,
They
we
do.
need someone
We
to
don't get
respond
copies of
from
them.
Oh, I know.
our department
We
and
used to
be
get
here
copies
to
of it,
keep the
sure.
rest of our citizens safe.
So it is okay for them to get overtime now?
On emergencies, we've always said.
We've always said in emergencies, we said as long as we were notified, we've never said that they couldn't have overtime in an emergency.
And that's a
No,
clear
'cause I
emergency.
was under the impression that you said we have to have a meeting if there's gonna be overtime.
We never said that. We said we will be notified. We didn't say we had a meeting.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
We just don't want them using overtime as.
I don't remember where we said
Covering
we,
shifts,
I
right?
don't ever remember saying we couldn't have it. I mean, it's been very clear that during emergencies, they could have overtime.
Right, and if you're taking a car home,
What's the
what would
point
be
of
the
having
purpose?
it?
Yeah, you don't need a car if you ain't gonna respond.
I thought that was part of the reason.
Cut down on overtime.
Yeah, we'll have some discussions with that, with him on that.
Well, we got a quick law. I would like to recognize that Mr. Ronk really helped us get traffic.
It was a mess.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrible. It was so bad the fire department came up Main Street and couldn't get through. Of course, they should have known better, but they couldn't get, they had to turn around up. And that wasn't the easy turnaround, watching them to get back out and come back around the other way. But Butch, I certainly do appreciate you kind of helping us out there because it was a mess. Traffic was everywhere. It was everywhere, so.
What committee are we on? Because it's
Yeah,
kind of been
please,
around the
just don't-
table.
That was
still
twice,
pleased.
some sort of, I think I
We got caught up.
And after
covered
that,
it.
it's back to her to see if she had anything to finish. Pam. After
done?
Pam finishes.
I think I'm done.
Okay, the only other thing with finance was just to asked Margret to send out a reminder to the department heads about, or any of us actually, about purchase orders after November 15th is the
I
deadline.
forgot that, yeah.
They gotta be in. And I will send an email out to all the department heads, and I'll copy mayor and council on it. This is for anything.
Mhm.
What's the deadline again?
15.
November
Oh, I
15th.
thought you said October.
We do have an ordinance on
Very good.
file.
So that way now they can start maybe preparing what they might need. to
And
do.
if they have questions, they can see me, and I'll work with them on it.
Because we'll only meet one more time before then.
Yeah.
Need to get everything ready for the winter.
Yep.
Salt, spreaders,
Traffic vest.
traffic vest.
Yeah. So on this, back to so on this third position, is this something we're just discussing, or what does council want to do with this? Because I think the chief, when's he interviewing?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I hope I made my position clear, that I want to see how this works.
Yeah, I'd like to see, like Danny said, you gotta write something up so we know what's going on. And if we're gonna have an extra full-time officer, I mean, all these weekend shifts are all open. I mean, he's gonna have to come up and say, listen, we're not gonna have these weekend shifts open, we're gonna have people filling these shifts if we have the other full-time officer.
I mean, they are working on a tentative schedule, and I guess we can get with the chief and say that we need that before we are gonna vote on it.
And I don't mind a special meeting, because we really need, I feel the urgency
Yeah.
of where we are, but
Right.
clearly, I want a few guarantees. We just, no, you can't necessarily make guarantees, but at least we should have
Better
a
understanding.
goal and a better understanding where we're trying to get to.
I mean, he
That's-
could write
that's just
something
my
up and
opinion.
let us know what his outlook is and how he plans on scheduling appropriately. And
Yeah, he does have a couple of different things in mind. I know with this next officer, he did tell us that he was gonna try to start playing around with the 12-hour shifts. He did bring it to the department, so, I mean, if we do have to call, I think we'll get the chief in the loop, and if we have to call a special meeting, that might be the better option on that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think that meeting should be a special meeting for,
Everybody.
yeah, for everybody, not
Yeah,
passing
'cause-
back and forth to committees.
Right, because when we've already drug it through 2
Yeah.
meetings on each committee.
So, and I think we probably agree that we can go for the third officer. We just need to know what the schedule's gonna look like,
Right.
and to know that we're gonna be covered.
what the outlook is, what's gonna
Yeah,
go
all
from here
shifts
on
are
out.
gonna be covered.
All shifts, there shouldn't be any open slots as we now have every weekend almost.
And by then, we'll have interviewed that candidate, so we should have, that will give us a better understanding of what that will look like anyway.
I mean, we've got how many part-time officers now?
I don't know how many we have. We have a lot.
But we only have each.
Well, you can look at the
That's
pay
not
sheet,
too
and it'll
much.
tell you how many's on there. It says full-time, part-time on the pay sheet,
Yeah.
I put that on there so that,
We have
Usually that's the
1,
one-
2, 3, 4.
and there might be 1 or 2 on there that didn't work the
We have
last.
6
you know.
part-time.
Yeah.
There's 2 auxiliary too.
I know.
Right.
They kind of don't
But-
count.
Yeah. So
But there might be 1 or 2 officers who didn't work the last pay
Yeah.
period. Normally, we've had like 7 officers part-time.
Well, I was just saying, right now there's 6, and then that 1 full-time plus, and then.
So like you might not see that one till the
Right.
next pay period.
But I'm just saying on this list.
I mean, the chief, when we call that meeting, he can print us out an active roster. I had him do it a couple of police committee meetings ago, and it's not a problem.
As we prepare for that, who's going to put together what council and the village's wants and needs are playing into this? I mean, this is more than covering shifts.
It's laws and contracts, all the
It's
things.
more than covering shifts. This is about our citizens, their expectations, our expectations. And it goes beyond that, so we really have to kind of keep incorporating things, but First off, I think you're right in trying to establish what that's going to look like. If we can start with the shift, that's great.
Be laws and contracts, right?
Yeah, I think going forward, that we would have to, definitely take it to laws and contracts and get an idea of what we want the future to look like. Because you're right, it's more than covering shifts, and
It is.
Now we're going into situations where it's response time and tone and just different issues that have come up, so it's,
It covers a lot of things, so.
yeah, so we can, laws and contracts can definitely meet on that. I don't know if it'll be before the special meeting, because I think we need to get that piece of it done.
What would you be expecting out of laws and contracts prior to that meeting?
Prior to the special meeting?
The special meeting, if you had one.
I don't think we would be able to meet prior to the special meeting.
Okay.
But I would be looking, going forward, I would kind of look at it from what we're expecting as a council and as a community, and get the levy language, that's where I would start
I
that.
see. Yeah.
What time is the interview Wednesday?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Next Wednesday?
This Wednesday.
Two days. Yeah, the
I
19th.
don't think I have it.
Approve it.
I just know it's next Wednesday. That'll be the first,
19th?
that will be the first interview. He said there,
Oh, the interview, sure.
that's the first interview, and then there'll be second interviews, which the, not laws and contracts, police committee would be invited to sit in on that interview, on the second interview. Police, you have anything to add to all that?
Nope. I'm just letting everybody else do their thing.
You don't know what time, the 19th?
No, I don't know what time on the 19th. That's between the chief and the person that he's interviewing. And then, I guess they'll do all the testing and all that. No, I don't know when the testing comes in. Don't let me start guessing.
I'd say that'd be after the second interview.
After the second interview. That's all I have, Lisa.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ann.
Before we adjourn, Pamela, you
I
finish?
didn't have anything else we have.
I would like to go to the audience still too, before you adjourn.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm
I'd
not
like
in the
to
middle
take
of a
back this
motion.
meeting and let's get us back in control here.
Yeah, great.
That'd be nice.
I don't have a problem. I just want-
All right, did anybody else have anything before I move to?
No.
Okay.
No,
Well,
just the chief, is he,
well, that's what I,
That's what I'm getting to.
okay.
All right, well, our chief of police, he wasn't feeling well tonight, so he did want to say, sorry, everyone, that he was at home. He's got a really bad headache and is feeling ill, so he wanted to take the night off and get some rest. Dustin didn't really have anything, but he's gonna bring something. He was hoping to bring the salt quote to us, but they did not give us back anything yet. They were supposed to email it to him before this meeting, but we didn't get anything, so.
Actually, they mailed
Did
it
they
to
get
me.
it?
They mailed it to me. I got it Friday.
Oh, okay.
So, sorry, but yeah, I guess because I'm the one that they've sent it to in the past.
Yeah, that's
probably.
fine. That would've been,
I,
well, all right, well,
I was here today, but everything that was going on,
yeah,
I'll see that he gets a copy of it in the morning.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And are you talking about maintenance right now?
Mm-hmm.
Where are we with the second full-time person? I know he's not here, but we still need to know. As a council.
Yeah, we haven't been getting a lot of applicants for it. And I don't know, I'll have to ask him about that, if he's been getting any other ones.
Because, we're heading into winter and we need to get something going here.
I agree.
So it's not like last year.
Wages and
oh, yeah.
I mean, I agree, but
We're not getting any applications, is that what we're saying?
here lately, no. We haven't gotten any for a few weeks, except for maybe one. And you also, when you do interviews, you kind of want to, certain expectations or skills, at least.
And I mean, looking back, I mean, we just talked about wages, but we're not even in the playing field. That's why we're not getting any applications.
Basically.
I mean, I know that, it's a fact. It's not,
I mean, DHL, actually, you hear that on the radio, that was just here recently,
I mean,
since
Amazon's paying
Christmas.
$25 an hour.
And the DHLs went up to 24 for people.
So, I mean, that's why we're not getting the looks that we should be getting. I mean,
We just can't compete, really, the way we
we need
sit
a
right now.
windfall of money. Somebody needs to hit the lottery and make a big donation.
I can try
My
it.
dad bicycle.
Yeah, we did get a bunch of
Can
bikes.
use that instead of the truck. We can put that in the budget, how to get another bicycle.
Yeah. And the other thing, that if you can, since you're asking about the second person, speaking of a truck, the maintenance truck, where we're at on that, and the lawnmower, the other lawnmower.
We're still waiting on that the lawnmower's ordered. We were supposed to have it within the month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here we are again.
Yeah.
Like I know we
That's
don't
something that
really
we
need it
just,
now,
we
but
couldn't control that
We
one.
dumped the Bobcat.
It's kinda like the air conditioning.
Lawnmower, dumped the truck.
Yeah, I mean,
Like we ordered it,
We're
but
still-
it ain't here, it ain't here.
October 25th, and that was supposed to be August. That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
how
no,
we
it was
work.
supposed to be here by
Well,
August, or
on-
September, wasn't it?
On the air conditioning, they could not get the parts, but that vendor has kept us informed
Well, I was just saying
on that.
I was-
But it's gonna be
saying anything
on
about
the
them.
26th. That's why the cranes are
Yeah,
coming.
I mean, I know, I was just saying, like, I wasn't saying anything bad about them, I'm just saying, like,
No,
it's
it's
a process,
everything.
like, right now,
Everything
everything's
is
on
just
back.
back ordered. Yeah.
Shirts are back ordered right now, I mean, everything is, not just.
yeah, but we need to move on. I mean, this has been a long time on all these issues. I mean, months and months.
Yeah. I traded backhoe, or Bobcat for a backhoe.
Yeah. Right, well, you're gonna do the
Eventually,
Well, these are questions that we need to ask as
Yeah.
a council.
that's fine.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I wasn't sure. Do we know, when they'll be finished with the building? Have they said anything, Mayor?
The-
260,
They're just, hopefully this week, that's been irritating me too, between the EPA and everything else, that's been the big holdup with that.
oh, okay, yeah,
They
they've got it
still
all
have some-
down.
Yeah, they have to backfill, they have to come in, inspect
Oh.
it before they backfill.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about, how
Yeah.
they were gonna do it, backfill it, how they
They're
were
gonna
gonna.
backfill it, they have to, even though there's that wall there, they still have to backfill it.
Okay, great.
Because they
Take one
wanted
box
to
up
block
there.
off the hole that's in there for that little.
Yeah, what is that? Did you look in there?
Yeah, that was the beer hole. When it was, well, okay, it used to be Mac and Betty's, then it was Bill's Bait Shop. They would use it like a wine cellar because it always stayed a consistent
Wow.
temperature.
Yeah.
So they'd keep wine, beer,
There
backstop
you go.
in
Didn't
there.
know that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just saw that entranceway. And have we heard anything back from the people on the electric? The drawings or whatever they
They should
proposed?
have sent something back here shortly because
Oh,
all they
okay.
had to do was get with Duke and Duke was supposed to get back with you as well and
Yeah, I had-
forward. I'll contact them again and say, hey, where are you at?
okay, yeah, because I had
Give you
heard
a
from
shout out on that
any of
one.
them. I held my
From the
breath and
park?
called
Yeah.
Nature, Nature Works on our grant, and there's nobody there available, so they'll get back with me.
Yeah,
Just
they're all
need to know,
working
it's
from home.
this is autumn or whatever they said they would do it in, so we'll see how that works. Thank you, that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Dan. Fire chief?
How's everybody?
Good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
I'm good, thanks for asking.
Good.
I think Sissy, the admin, I think she sent the report over a little earlier for you to review. In the report, runs for Addyston for the month of September. We had 6 emergency details in Addyston. and we had 18 EMS details. The fire runs, or the emergency runs, means the fire truck was dispatched. We had an open burn, an auto accident with entrapment, the structure collapse, and we had 4 calls for structure fires. And those structure fires weren't actually structure fires, they were calls over to Ineos. Their flare was burning. I called Lucas Carroll over at the plant to find out why we were getting so many calls about that. I think it's the time of the year, the way the sun's setting this time of year. They were changing their process over to the winter process, which I think, you know, eliminates the flare a little more. So we worked with the plant on, you know, rectifying or coming up with a problem that, you know, or how to fix that problem. And they were able to do that. The structural collapse came out. I notified the mayor as soon as we got the call. Mr. Pillow was there. You know, we basically couldn't do anything except block the roadway off, just keep people safe for that. Glad to see that's been resolved. The EMS details, they're broken down by, you know, all the different sections. We had maternity runs, unconscious, trouble breathing, stroke, sick people, you know, just a little bit of everything in the mix for the month. Total EMS details for Miami Township Fire Department for the month was 166 details. You can see we're fairly busy. That's just EMS. Training, we took 2 weeks off of training in September. One was to do our hose testing, make sure all of our hose is compliant. Another thing that we did is we gave our crews a chance to get caught up on their inspections. So any commercial property, we go out and do inspections, and we're also doing pre-plans. So we're going out, we're looking at the buildings, and we're figuring out, you know, which hydrant we should hit, which way we should be traveling down Main Street or not traveling down Main Street, those type of things. So we're looking, you know, we're pre-planning all the businesses so that we got a better idea of what we need to do when we get there. We did break in 4 new FAOs, which is fire apparatus operator. So we did have some new drivers out this in September. Fire investigations, we didn't have any fire investigations other than looking into Ineos and finding out why we were going over there so much. We do have an open case, and we're just for fire investigations, just pending, waiting on some more information to come in from the insurance agency that's handling that. We did Taylor's Homecoming Parade. We participated in that. We did have our station dedication for the open house, and open house for the new station, Station 69. The old fire station had a plaque on it that was dedicated to Lieutenant Walt Wade, who died in the line of duty, had a massive heart attack on a fire in Whitewater Township. So we rededicated the plaque from the old building to the new building. Walt's daughter was able to attend, so we were really, you know, honored that she was there. We had about 250 folks show up for the dedication, so it was fairly large. We had, you know, a lot of, it's an election year, so we had a lot of elected officials come out too and speak. So that was good. The fire station, like I said, we're working on a punch-out list to finish up some of the things that weren't right with it, but with COVID, the Canadian trucker strike, all that, we were able to keep the building to right around 1% overage of what we budgeted for, which we didn't hire a project manager. It was kind of mean. It was a project manager, so I'm pretty proud that we were able to kind of hold it to that setting. I was kind of disappointed before the meeting started. Ms. Anderson pointed out that she had to use our services, and it wasn't a stellar event for us. So I got my card. I'd like for you to email me.
Okay.
I've already had my lieutenant that's on tonight pulled the run record to see who the crew was.
Okay.
So that we could do some intervention with that crew, maybe some further training about how you felt it would do good if you would email me so I could have that. And then I'll also address, I took some notes to find out why the fire truck didn't go the right direction, so I'll check on that.
One of those new operators can play on
It
that.
did very well, yeah. Yeah, I'll finish up with saying that, any of the public service, I listened to you talk about the police force and I understand that that's dear to you, I understand that, and, you know, the fire department loves the village of Addyston, we've always had a great, you know, rapport down here. But it's really hard in public service right now. I've, in 37 years of being a firefighter, and I started out as a volunteer. I've never seen what we're into right now. We can't staff, we can't find people to work, we can't, you know, pay enough. You know, it's the whole circle that you're going through with your law enforcement as well. So it's just a really, really tough time in public services. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know what the answer is. You know, we're getting pretty creative and trying to, you know, get people to come work for us. I've never seen that before in the history of me ever being in the fire service. So bear with your chief. I know he's probably doing all he can. But, you know, I just wanted to add that in there because we're seeing the same thing on the fire side. Last thing, I really appreciate you acknowledging June Renninger. June was a fantastic lady. Very positive. I've known her for a long time. I've never heard June say anything negative about anybody. In fact, she enlightened me several times when I was mad and complaining to her husband, who's my boss. So, I appreciate that very much. Does anybody have any questions for me?
The new station is in Frogtown?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Come down anytime.
I will.
Yeah,
I
let me
will,
know.
yeah.
I'll meet you down there and we'll go through it.
Absolutely.
Anybody on.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that.
Oh, that's okay.
Those things
It's
I
okay, you
missed.
guys are busy. Anybody have anything else?
Thanks, Chief.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye. All right.
Still just curious about why the village is using grant money to tear down a building that is owned by a bank. I just can't figure that out.
Safety.
As you heard me say, this is just a part of housing, and that's what we want to cover. We want to have hard and fast rules that cover all of that. When we tear these properties down, and I'll be the first to admit it, the ones that we've torn down in the past, I'd have to go online to find out who owns them. They were a blight. The county says, okay, you did all your paperwork, tear it down. I don't
And
know if
well,
they
with
belong
that
to us.
property right now, the bank doesn't actually own it. It's still, from what Ed said, it's still sitting in foreclosure.
Yeah.
So they don't actually own it.
Mm.
It's just still in foreclosure process. I think they keep flipping it to other banks.
They won't take title to it.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
And the reason why they won't take title to it, because if they take title, then they're stuck with the responsibility of maintaining it. So what they do is they file a foreclosure action against the owner, and then if they assess that they can't make any money off of it or it won't sell, they just leave it sit. Or in the alternative, if it goes to the sheriff's sale and it doesn't sell 2 times in a row, then it'll sit until they have like a once a year tax sale where people can come in and it might sell for, like 10 cents on the dollar. Then somebody may buy it up at that point in time, or somebody may go out and look at the property and say, under no circumstances would I take that.
It just doesn't make sense that it deteriorated for years and nobody was held responsible. Then all of a sudden, it's a safety issue because apparently we as a village didn't do anything. It should have never got to the point that it fell over, never.
But I certainly remember going through this scenario many times and Bob giving us the same information. Far back as when the housing started back there in 2008, when the market fell and the housing market fell, the banks just started saying, no. So I understand what you're saying, and that's actually a part of what we're trying to do.
But I can't do that as a taxpayer. If my property goes bad, I can't just tell you, hey, I'm done. You tear it down. I would never get by with that. I don't understand how a bank does.
They've got more money than we do. They can fight it in court for a long time. They got deep pockets. I mean, that's really the,
We're definitely gonna throw our weight into trying to get all of these types of things that perpetually haunt us.
I guess my question is, nothing's gonna be done. That's basically what you're telling me.
On this particular
Yeah.
piece of property, it'll be a part of what we study. I'm just not saying nothing's gonna be done. I'm gonna say we're gonna look at it. And, I mean, it ain't hurt nothing now, but for the future, that's what our committee is trying to be about.
Once the building was standing there, who was paying taxes? Somebody had to own it for the county to get taxes. They don't just say, "Oh, we're not gonna tax you."
That could be a place where
They
we
haven't been paying
start.
taxes either.
They tax, you always get a tax bill. A lot of people don't always pay that real estate tax bill. And eventually, the tax certificate will be sold to someone who's counting on being able to sell the property and recover the money that they put out for the tax certificate.
So if somebody wanted that building today, how would they get it?
You could bet they figure out some way to get it somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, now they would. Store it out.
Yeah, the one thing the council could do is investigate the possibility of putting a lien on the property for whatever the tear down costs are.
And that was what, 18,000, somewhere like that?
Right.
That's
I
a
don't
lot of
know,
money.
I don't know.
I don't know, they haven't given us a cost on that one yet because of nature of
I
jumping
hope
in
it
with
wasn't by
emergency.
the hour, because what should have been about a half-a-day job took them a week and a half.
Yeah, because of EPA.
Yeah,
And there's only certain days they're allowed to take that to the Rumpke dump,
the asbestos.
even though there wasn't any.
Removing a lot of asbestos from it. Like, most of it went out in trash bags.
That's all I have.
Council, do you have anything else?
One more thing. I forgot to mention that the chiefs will be going for training the first week in November.
Yeah.
And he says that shift's covered. That's all I have. So if there's nothing else, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
second.
Motion by Ms. Ann, second by Ronnie to adjourn. Call for the vote.
Dan Phillip,
Yay.
Ron Pugh,
Okay.
Jennifer Anderson,
Yay.
Ann Phillip,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.